Do you have a lot of other witch friends? Do you guys have like little gatherings and get together, like sort of like at the end of witch? Like, do you guys do that, like at the end of witch?
Nobody levitates or anything
But
like
you
that.
guys get super like, you guys start chanting and stuff, and
Yeah, I would say that we do have ceremonial things that we do together. Right. But probably not in the stylized way that people think.
Okay.
For me, like the one thing where I always want to do something ceremonial is with the full moons.
Oh, the full moon. We had one recently.
We had a blue
Halloween.
moon.
Oh, we did.
We had a blue moon.
Oh, yeah.
It was-
On Halloween. Happens once every 19 years or something,
something like that. Yeah, it's like it's not often.
Alrighty, what up, you guys? I'm Bryson Smith.
And I'm Javin, and this is
Etcetera.
Etcetera. Damn. We're here.
Okay, so I know it's late and Halloween is past, but we actually, like I guess the universe wanted us to have this, but we were able to get an actual witch for the show. So I'm gonna have her introduce herself if she wants to. She wants to remain mysterious, but she could explain why if she would like to.
So I'm willing to give my first name. So my first name, and yeah, I'm a witch.
Okay. So my first, I have a lot of questions I want to ask you, and I'm sure Javin does too. But my first question to you is, how do you feel about the media portrayal of witches the portrayal of witches in the media?
Okay. So first, let me backtrack and explain the
Okay.
appearance.
For sure.
So the appearance. So I do work in law enforcement.
Right.
And for the privacy of my children, my fiance who's Christian,
Oh. Right.
a number of family members. I'm choosing to keep this private.
Yeah.
I got you.
So stay anonymous.
Okay.
Just out of respect for them.
Got you.
But as far as the media portrayal of witches, it's very stylized, very Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
It's depicted a lot darker,
Really?
more dark than it really is. There's so many different types of witchcraft,
Okay.
and it's so very personal and individualized.
okay.
It's not like a broad spectrum thing, or I'm sorry, it is a broad spectrum thing. And the media, movies, Hollywood tends to portray it negatively.
What about like a film like a Hocus Pocus?
Hocus Pocus, I don't even think it's really meant to be
Oh, okay.
about witchcraft. I think it was just meant in fun. And actually, my sister's here. She loves the movie too.
I like Hocus Pocus a lot.
It's one of our favorite Halloween movies. I think it's just, for me, that's more of a seasonal thing. I don't think it's necessarily specific to witches. But things like The Craft.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
The Craft.
The Craft is good, and yeah, there's aspects of it that are very realistic.
Okay.
But it is depicted very dark.
What about, have you seen The Witch by any chance?
I have.
What about that one?
That one is another one. It was a very good. Was that the one that was really spooky?
Like that last scene where all the witches were like elevating.
Yeah, they were elevating.
I like
Okay.
that part.
Yeah. That was another one. That one actually was more based in reality.
Okay.
No way.
But yeah. But it was a darker side. The thing with witchcraft is you can make it what you want.
Right.
It is something that doesn't fit into any one cookie cutter thing.
Okay.
There's so many different types of witches. There's eclectic witches, which practice a bunch of different types of witchcraft.
Eclectic witches.
Eclectic
Okay.
witches.
Is that what you are?
I am.
Oh,
Or
okay.
a green witch.
No way.
A
Green-
green witch is somebody that works with herbs, works with the earth, very connected to crystals and stones.
Right,
herbs,
right. Okay.
Plants, nature, forest. There's sea witches that are connected to the ocean, sand.
There's sandwiches?
Sand-
Sandwiches? There's sandwiches?
yeah.
Yeah, there's
The
sandwiches.
sand, the ocean creatures. There's this might shock my sister actually. So there's witches that are connected to necromancy, which is more of like a dark art death.
Wow.
They work with bones and passed on spirits, dead insects, dead animals. And actually, that's something that I'm starting to kind of take an interest in.
No way.
Really?
Yeah. And that's just recently started happening. I'm kind of wondering if it's like a past life thing. So I'm
Okay.
kind of researching it because with every kind of witchcraft, you want to research what you're doing because it's all very powerful. You want to know what you're doing before you start because some things can't be undone. So.
About that. So you're very spiritual then, in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about those experiences. Like, has something been so bad to where you're like, I'm not gonna do that again, or I'm not gonna chant this chant again, or I want to hear about these spiritual experiences.
Yeah. So everything you do, there's like Witch's Creed, there's the Wiccan Read, there's Wiccan laws, there's and not everybody that's a witch is a Wiccan either.
Right.
But there's certain laws you have to abide by, and one of the laws that's definitely very real is the law of three. So anything you put out comes back threefold, good and bad. And I have definitely paid my dues with some negative karma. When you are a witch and you have, everything is about intention.
Okay.
So when you put out negative intention, if you're angry about something or you put out something dark, just know that it comes with a price. So in that selfish moment where you're impacting someone in a negative way, it's going to come back to you in a negative way, times 3.
Wow.
So you have to be willing to pay the price for that. But it also is the same in good. If you impact something or someone or an action or the future in a positive way, that will return to you in a positive way, times 3.
So witches aren't always bad then. That's just sort of like some stigma that isn't really true.
Yeah, it's a stigma. It's a lot of that comes from religion.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize religion, witchcraft is a religion.
I actually wanted to mention, could you explain to me the difference between Wicca and witchcraft and what you personally might believe in?
So I don't prescribe to any one kind of witchcraft, really. Like I said, I'm more of like an eclectic witch, which would practice many different things, or like a green witch that's more connected to earth and herbs and crystals, things like that. Wiccans have their own set of laws, rules, and beliefs, deities, things that they worship and work in. And that's the same for like there's Druid witchcraft, which is very ancient. There's all kinds of different witchcraft, and actually in modern days now, witchcraft is changing so much. There's so many new types.
Really?
Wow.
What are some of the new types?
Technological witches.
Are you serious?
Technological
Wait,
witches
really?
that use apps, that use video, that use
What do they place like
phones.
hexes on technologies and do?
They do.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Which that's a new thing that's come out now.
So there are good witches and there are actually some bad witches then.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
What does good and bad mean to a witch? I want to clarify because I know that in the media, like you've said, they've been portrayed as mainly bad, satanic, stuff like that.
Right.
But I assume since it's a different religion, morality means something a little bit different.
That's a good question.
Yeah. So basically what's good and what's bad is all just about for me, there's a place for everything. And I used to be fearful of things I didn't understand, and now I'm not fearful. I have just a healthy respect for it. So there's like satanic witchcraft.
Yeah.
Right.
I choose to not dabble in that, but I have such a respect for it.
Oh, okay.
Because
that's
there's a place
interesting.
for it. There's a place for it, and it works for the people that practice it. And you know what? As long as you're willing to pay your dues for doing it, then that's your thing.
You respect it.
Then
yeah.
I respect that. And a lot of people, the word pagan, a lot of people don't understand what pagan means. Pagan basically just refers to any person that practices a religion other than the mainstream Christianity, Buddhist, Hindu, Catholic thing. So when you don't practice something like that, you're considered a pagan. So a lot of people automatically associate pagan with satanic.
Can I ask
not the case.
what got you started into witchcraft, or how did you become a witch? What is that like? Do you just decide I'm going to be a witch and you do your research? Or do you have to be born into it? Or do you have some sort of book passed down from generation to generation?
Honestly, that is something that I think that depends on the person as well. From my personal experience, what it has been is I've always seen spirits.
Okay.
Oh, no way.
I've always psychically knew things before they were going to happen.
Okay.
I've always felt a connection with animals where I can understand thoughts.
Oh, wow.
And almost like a language. I also have a connection with the stars and the moon.
Oh, okay.
My sister, she has a connection with the sun and the clouds.
Wow.
So she just works in a different energy light than I do.
Okay.
It's like as far back as I could go. So you usually feel some kind of calling. I feel very connected to the earth. I feel very connected to animals. I feel very connected to working with herbs. And for me, every living thing, even plants, has like a life force.
Right.
And it's an energy that I've always felt my whole life. So I knew. And basically because my family was either non-practicing of any religion or they had Protestant background. It was not nurtured.
Right.
So I call her my sister. Basically, she's more like my tribe.
She's like your tribe?
My tribe.
Okay.
Her family is, we've probably had reincarnations again and again and again. Her and her sister, her mom and dad, her brother. Her brother.
There's 1,000 trillion out there, so
there's a bunch.
You're fine.
But they've been, we've definitely feel a past life connection, and they've been in my life since I was a kid. And I do call them my sister, my brother, my mom and dad, because we all kind of have the same beliefs, and we all found each other.
Got you.
And they're actually the ones that helped me to nurture my magic. Like now I'm totally about like living in your magic, practicing your magic. I think everybody, if you're willing to listen, you have a calling of some kind to some kind of practice. And I'm just like, go with it, open yourself to it, and see what you receive back.
So this is deep rooted for you. This is a part of your identity.
It's my soul.
Wow.
Definitely.
Do you use tarot cards?
I do.
What do you actually use tarot cards for? It's like, what is that whole thing about?
Usually I've never done, I should say never successful. I'm not good at doing them on myself for some reason.
On yourself?
Yeah, I can't read cards for myself.
Like you could do them on us, one of us?
I could.
Wow.
I can do them very easily for somebody else.
Yeah, we'd have to pay you though. Yeah, I usually like to pay because
actually I refuse to accept gifts.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I will only do tarot to help somebody if I feel that they're in like an emotional distress or some kind of
gotcha.
trouble, or they need some kind of clarity in a decision.
Right.
I'll do it, and I'll do it for free. I feel like I was given a gift, and I don't feel it's right for me to charge to help.
Right.
Gotcha.
So I just give thanks every time we do tarot for each other. We ask for permission.
Mm-hmm.
We say a blessing before, and we close it out with a thank you.
Okay.
And
Or you?
I really respect that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Fun question. Witches and black cats. Is that a thing?
That is a thing.
Oh wow, really? Why? Why is that a thing?
It's just ancient. It's just old.
Oh.
It's that's got to do mostly with familiars. I don't know if you know what a familiar is. Have you guys ever heard that?
Enlighten us, or enlighten
Yeah.
me then.
Yeah. So a familiar is usually a witch's connection to a specific animal. Mine was my dog. He passed away 2 years ago.
Okay.
And it's like a witch will usually take a special relationship with one animal that it's like such a spiritual connection that it's like a soulmate type connection.
Right.
And you relate with that animal. You take care of that animal like a person. Like my dog was, oh my God, he was my whole life. And when he passed, I went through like a very dark stage.
Okay.
Like the loss of him was just major. And that's where the black cats come from for witches. They're usually a familiar, but witches can have many different things. So traditionally what people are usually seeing is the black cat. For me, it was a dog. I've had people that connect with raccoons, with ravens. My daughter's happens to be reptiles, lizards.
Your daughter's really cool, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks.
I know her.
Yeah. Yeah. So she connects with reptilian energy.
That's really cool.
Do you think familiars happen kind of organically, like that? People who have any deep connection with any animal is a familiar relationship, or do you need to have some level of understanding for
I
that to be
asked for
true?
him, and he came to me.
Interesting.
So I asked for a familiar, and he came to me. So I found him, and I knew the moment I found him that was my soul.
So, I kind of wanted to go a little bit deeper into what your witchcraft is, like what you personally consider to be that. I would imagine it's what you put out, like you said, what you put out is what you get back. Your intentions change the universe in such a way that is conducive towards your will. So essentially you're saying you have to have an intention to get a familiar. You have to have that kind of intentionality and put out that energy to get it back.
You almost everything in witchcraft, you ask for permission. And so I asked for permission to work with a familiar. And then that was how my dog came to me. And he was such like, he was literally my sidekick. His name is Poopy.
Poopy.
Because he used poop everywhere.
Shout out to Poopy.
Shout out to Poopy. He's somewhere. He's on another. He's got another assignment. He's
Right.
he's on another
Going through a
assignment, and his
different
time with me was done, and he went on to some other witch that needed him. But yeah, like you set out the intention, you ask for permission from the universe, your deities, whoever you work with,
Gotcha.
whatever your spiritual calling is. You set out the intention, you put the request, you ask for permission, and usually it will find you.
That doesn't sound different from Christianity or anything like that. You think they're all this? It's about the same kind of.
So
thing?
for me, so witchcraft, it's okay. So, and I don't want to offend any Christians. I have many Christians that I love dearly, and I'm not criticizing anything. But for me, witchcraft is very, very akin to Christian traditions. For me, Christians, when they drink and take in the blood of Christ and do the
Right.
cracker, and it's the body body
ritual,
of Christ.
yeah.
It's ritualistic.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
They come to church to an altar.
Right.
Witches build altars.
Yeah.
Easter is a pagan holiday, whether they want to admit it or not. Christmas is another pagan holiday, whether you want to admit it or not.
Halloween, like just go down the list.
Right. Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
is
like,
another,
there's
like
all-
you can go on and on. But like Christianity is no different. Just it's just another religion. It really is. And really witchcraft is older than Christianity. It was here before. Christianity, for me, the way I look at Christianity, and like I said, I have a respect. I believe in gods and angels, and I believe in heaven and hell. I believe in, I think I believe in many gods.
Yeah.
And I believe in many demons and devils. Whereas Christians, their truth is the Bible. The Bible's it. There's one God, there's one devil, and that's the way that works. And that works for them, and that's fine. If that's your calling, that's fine. But for me, it's more broad spectrum than that. And, for me, the way I explain it is, how do you explain somebody that's like in another country where Christianity isn't there? Maybe it's somebody that lives in the Himalayan mountains.
Right.
And is their religion that they believe in not real because they don't know God and they don't know the Bible the way a Christian does, but they were never exposed to it. So how would you expect the knowledge to be there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
They would probably just see it in terms of what they already believe in. They would
Correct.
just imprint that. Yeah.
Because think about like different tribes in different countries, Africa, things like that. Like think of like the Aztecs and all that stuff. Like they didn't have exposure to Christianity, but their gods were still just as real.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
and for me, it's the same thing. And like I said, there's a respect for it that I have. But I think that, the one thing that people need to understand is the number one killer in all of history. There's been more wars, more bloodshed, more death, more harm, more loss of life over religion than any one other thing in the history of the world.
Yeah,
That's
even
true.
disease hasn't.
I mean, and it makes
gotten
sense too,
those
because
numbers.
religion is something that people hold close to their heart and their spirit. So it would make sense as to why people would fight over something like that.
Right.
Question: how can women only be witches? Men can't be witches, right? Aren't those called
no.
warlocks?
That's the same thing.
Oh,
so
same
a
thing?
warlock isn't anything different than a male who practices witchcraft.
Really? So it's just a different name for the different sex.
Yeah, it's agendered. Just anyone can do it. That's really cool. That makes sense for
Yeah.
religion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of other witch friends? Do you guys have like little gatherings and get together, like sort of like
you're
at the end of witch? Like, do you guys do that? Like at the end of witch?
Nobody levitates or anything.
But
like
you guys
that.
get super like you guys start chanting and
witchy.
stuff, and
Yeah, I would say that we do have ceremonial things that we do together. Right. But probably not in the stylized way that people think.
Okay.
For me, like the one thing where I always want to do something ceremonial is with the full moons.
Oh, the full moon. We had one recently. didn't we?
we had a
on
blue
Halloween.
moon.
Oh, we
We
did.
had a blue moon.
Oh, yeah.
It
Moon
was-
on
it was
Halloween. Happens once every 19 years or something,
something like
that.
Yeah, it's like it's not often. So it was a special moon. So those are the times that I want to do something ceremonial. But yeah, we do get together, and it's probably not as formal as like, because I'm not part of a coven. Oh, that's another thing too. So witches can be solitary witches where they practice by themselves without a coven, or they can be part of a coven.
Okay.
And covens include men as well.
Oh, okay.
So I'm more solitary, except for with my tribe.
How do you guys end up finding each other? Just by kind of like how me and you met? Is it just like random and you guys just kind of link up?
I think a long time ago, I gave her and her sister a card, and I wrote in the card, "Friends by Destiny, Sisters by Choice."
Okay.
And I really do think it's that kind of a thing. So for them, my tribe, my family, I think it was no mistake that we found each other. We found each other when we were kids, and we were doing, our tarot cards together. We were doing, buying candles. We were doing all kinds of stuff together, and we were just kind of dabbling and feeling it out and finding it. And over time, as we learned and we started realizing things and we started like putting things together, it's like there's a familiarity here. We've known each other before. We've had the same dreams. We've seen the same places, and we've never been there. Me and her, we feel a connection to Boston in a way. That's like I've gone through Boston, and I was driving a rental car.
You're going to Boston too, right?
I'm going
Shout out
tomorrow.
to Boston.
Yeah. So
Subscribe.
I'm going tomorrow. But I was driving in a rental car in the middle of the night, and I was seeing ahead of me before I was even making the turns. I knew it was coming.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, there's like a familiarity I know I've been here. And there was like this like pain in my heart, like where I felt like I was home and I missed it. And like I hadn't been there in forever. And what's funny is she said the same thing one time when she was there. And I was like, oh my God, we've had to have a past life together. And we've actually had someone tell us that we've had many past lives together and that we always find each other. We're always sisters. And I 100% know that to be fact. 100%. There's just no way we complete each other's sentences. We know when something's going on with the other. We know each other's pains. We've literally been there for every pivotal moment of each other's lives. And I think it's been lifetimes of that.
Sounds like you kind of like had like your third eye open or something like that. Like
Yeah.
you're just seeing things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
powerful.
Do you have like a book of spells or something?
So that's another thing. So there's usually witches work with two kinds of spell books. One would be a book of shadows, and then another would be a grimoire or a spell book. So a grimoire would tend to be where you write all your spells and like the meaning of herbs and meanings of colors of candles and like the actual spells and rituals that you do. And then a book of shadows would be the application of those spells from the grimoire and the results and the emotional work that comes with it.
Emotional work.
So
The things you feel.
if I had to translate that, for me, I'm trying to get a hold of it. So a grimoire is a book of a grimoire is essentially like an experiment, and the book of shadows is the records and results of that experiment, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like look at the grimoire as a recipe book.
Oh yeah,
the
that's
spells.
better. That's
Which one do you use? You said there's
Example.
two different.
Both.
Oh, you use both.
And typically, like a grimoire is something that you would hand down. A book of shadows you would not necessarily hand down
Okay.
because that's usually where you do a lot of dark soul work. So those things that like those pains that you really carry, those personal works
Yeah.
that you feel deep inside your soul, that's kind of documented in your book of shadows.
So do you have one that was handed down? Because I've known a few witches, and one of my closest friends' mom is a witch, and they have a book like that was like handed down from. Like,
Oh my God, that's amazing. No, I don't. I'm definitely going to do that for my daughter. I
Okay.
don't know that my son has the calling for it, but he's welcome to it as well. I would probably do that, but I probably would not hand down the Book of Shadows just because I do intend to destroy that one day.
Really? Okay.
Just because it's more private.
I
But
get
the Grimoire, yeah, I would definitely
pass
pass
that.
that on.
Do you what's like the most powerful spell you've ever done, or something that was like, I don't know, I just want to know, like, because there's love spells and stuff like that, right? Like I've heard of stuff like that. I remember my friend said he was doing things like that at one point.
It probably didn't work.
Well, at the time, honestly, all his women were really obsessed with him, so I always thought
That's
like
the
maybe that's
problem.
why. Oh, that's the problem.
Because you
Oh.
got to remember the times 3.
Oh,
factor.
that's true.
So
yeah.
it creates like a sickness, an imbalance.
Oh.
Like there's certain things you want to let happen organically. Like if you want to steer something or give it like a nudge, that's one thing. But if you want to control something and just say, oh, I want this person to be in love with me, don't be surprised if it's like an obsessive thing.
Yeah, he was like, I remember at one point he said he sold his soul to the devil too. He was like
Yeah.
way out there. But he's one of my close friends. I love him.
I mean, yeah, and you know what? That might be his magic. That might be where his magic
Oh,
lies. And
He doesn't even, not that I know of, he's not even into that stuff anymore. But this was like when we were like late teens, like 19. That's where he was kind of dabbling with.
Yeah, that stuff, like I said, everything comes with a cost. So you want to educate yourself before you start dabbling and experimenting and things like that. Because the likelihood at that age, if he didn't have a mentor or somebody showing him and he wasn't just researching the shit out of it, you can cause yourself so much damage and release things that are just so bad. So bad because you have no grasp on what you're doing, which might be why some of those relationships were just a little bizarre for him.
He did mention at one point, he was saying, I remember he told me, he said he could never hold a relationship at the time. Like, it just was not working.
That doesn't surprise me. But as far as spells that I've done, so I dabbled in something when I was, about 19 or 20.
Okay.
And I did a spell relating to a relationship. Completely blew up in my face, and I have paid for it. I don't even think times 3. I think times 9. Like, I'm not even kidding. I've paid my dues. And I don't want to go into the relationship for the sake of the people that it involves after the fact. But I definitely did things to influence a relationship because I wanted it, and I paid.
You paid
for that. I paid for that.
Wow, so you got a first-hand important lesson. And
again and again and again. Yeah.
Seems like you've learned your lesson. Maybe they could
I
let
don't
up.
do that shit anymore.
Before we run out of time, I kind of wanted to ask you, what's your biggest like pet peeve when it comes to people's perception of witches?
Oh, good question.
Oh God. So mine tends to come from, and like I said, I don't want to offend anybody, but it always comes from a place of fear or not understanding. And I think my pet peeve comes from, and I don't know how else to say it because it is what I say. And like I said, I don't want to offend anybody in your audience, but the Bible thumpers, I'm like, dude, just fucking relax. Like, just fucking relax. Do you, I'm going to do me. And in the end, if what you're saying is true, I'm going to pay my price and just leave me be.
Oh.
Amen.
You know
Actually,
saying?
that's a statement. That's a statement.
That's how, I mean, like, you do you, I do me. We can
Right.
coexist with each other. Just respect me and I'll respect you.
Yeah.
Harmony is, and
And you know what's funny is my fiance, like I said, he's Christian.
Yeah, how does that, just
And-
if you could
but
briefly go over that.
Oh my God, he's like so willing to learn.
That's dope.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, fuck, finally.
Somebody. It's like,
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Like, he's willing to learn. And he's like, that's some bizarre, scary shit. And I'm like, it is, but don't worry about it. Like,
That's
we
dope.
got this. And between you and your beliefs and me and my beliefs, we're golden. We're golden. And actually, I'm starting to sway him. He's starting to get,
wow.
he's wearing crystals around his neck now. And he's asking me to get his
amazing.
kids
he really
little
likes you.
crystals.
That
Dude,
makes
he's really
me
into
happy.
you.
He asked me to make him a special candle, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So, but
sounds
he's willing
pretty
to
good.
learn, and so for me, the pet peeve would be the if you're Christian, go ahead and be Christian, but just leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah,
Like,
chill.
let me do
Got
my
you.
thing. I let you do your thing. Let me do my thing, and let all the other witches do their thing. And in the end, if you're right, guess what? You're right, and you'll see the judgment. So
yeah, it's
don't-
not up to
don't-
you, right? Don't judge. There's no
Right.
point.
all right,
Yeah.
well,
Just let me
that's-
live.
I think we'll leave it at that. If you've liked what you've seen so far, please subscribe. Join the cult, join the tribe, join the channel. And thank you for stopping by. We really appreciate this because this was super cool.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope to do it again. Honestly.
We'll see.
yeah.
Maybe one day I'll come without all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
gear.
Hopefully we
Yeah,
can
we'll
work
see.
to that point, but right now you're just being so mysterious. But
Yeah.
anyways,
It's good. It's a good look for you. Just the whole. Yeah.
No, like a mummy.
right. All right, thank you guys. Later.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.